Hello, everybody. This is Tom Eckert here. You're listening to my podcast, Numerology, a GPS for the soul. This is your place to learn about the true power of numerology and how to use it to bring out the best in yourself, understand your loved ones better, take wise decisions, and prepare for your future. In other words, how to live your life aligned with your true destiny. Take your time to educate yourself and share these podcasts with your friends and family so they too can enjoy the great benefits of numerology. Enjoy! Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode in my ongoing podcast about numerology. I'm super thrilled today and actually excited because looking at my podcast growing step by step and just realizing that it has crossed the 2,000 mark of listenings, of people who just took the time to listen to the different episodes. It's just a beautiful thing to accompany, and makes me happy to see this vibrant community of people who are genuinely interested in numerology and in understanding the secret behind numbers and what numbers have to offer us on a deeper level, on a level of understanding ourselves. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge your presence and the fact that you're taking your time to listen and to learn. And I hope that as I continue providing more episodes, that you will grow in self-understanding and perhaps come closer to numerology, and maybe one day even embark on the journey, on the amazing journey of studying numerology. Today, we are going into a very important subject. So I call it number combinations, and number combinations, in the way that I define it, is one of the three pillars of a good numerologist. So what I mean by that is, if you study numerology and if you want to be able to analyze your own numbers, your own chart in a deep way and really understand who you are, what's your destiny, what's your makeup, or if you want to use numerology to give readings to other people, whether it's friends, family members, or even strangers, there are three main pillars that form the solid foundation of numerology. Why am I emphasizing this? Because many people do the mistake, which I did as well, that as they start having interest in numerology, they go online and start searching for ways to calculate many different calculations. And that's actually not so relevant. What's really relevant is to understand the fundamentals well, because that's going to actually give you the ability to go very deep with your interpretation of what the meaning of different numbers actually means. So the three pillars that I'm mentioning are: 1, knowing the numbers well, knowing all the numbers from 1 to 9 really deeply, really well. The light, the shadow, the psychological world of the numbers, their potentials, their flaws and challenges. The second pillar is knowing the 5 major locations in our numerology chart and the period cycles chart. So if we know these two fundamental parts of the numerology chart, we have another one, we cover another one of the main pillars of being a good numerologist. And the third pillar, which is what we're going to talk about today, is number combinations. Knowing the number combinations well. So what are number combinations after all of this long introduction? Imagine that you buy a puzzle, right? And all the pieces are disconnected from one another. There's no coherence, right? It's that they're all like a mess, many pieces piled on top of one another. You simply throw You toss all the pieces on the floor and you don't see any coherence. You don't see a picture. You don't see how things come together. This is a little bit similar to when you look at numbers without knowing how they string together. So, what I'm saying is that even if I know my numbers, it's not enough to understand the picture, the whole picture of who I really am. Many people come to me and tell me, Tom, I'm a 7, I'm a 3, I'm a 9, I'm this, I'm that. And while there is a truth to that, it is not the picture of who you are, of who they are. It's a little bit similar to having many body pieces dismembered and located in different places, right? Not really knowing how the body would actually look like if all those body pieces and organs would come together to form a whole, a unit. So number combinations is the way that two or more numbers come together to form one coherent whole. And that one coherent whole is what I also like to call the story, the storyline of your life. A good numerologist, whether for the sake of helping others or for the sake of wanting to know yourself, any good numerologist needs to learn how to find the story that every number combination creates. So the numerologist ultimately has to develop the ability to merge two or more energies, two or more numbers, in other words, into one story. That's really the power of the numerologist. When I look at your chart, when I look at my own chart, I don't look at numbers as isolated energetic factors. I don't look at 7, 9, 2, which happen to be my core numbers, as separate entities. I give them that space. Yes, it's true. My hand is not my nose, right? My ear is not my eye. It's true. Yes, there is the element of individuality. Any organ or any energetic component of your chart has its self-existence. However, it functions within a greater whole. And within that context, the greater context, that's when you actually discover your real your real self, who you are, what you're meant to be, what's your actual potential. So I look at my own numbers as a story. Now, when you start looking at numbers as a story, the complexity grows and expands. What do I mean by that? Let's take an example. Let's say you tell me, oh, I'm a 3. I'm a 3. I'm a 3 at my core, right? Very often when we say I'm a 3, we mean my life path number derived from my date of birth is a 3 when reduced to a single digit. And while you may be right, and while you may have read the qualities of the 3, the childlikeness, the playfulness, the easygoingness, the creativity, the expressiveness, etc., you might not know that your expression number is a 4 and that your soul urge number is a 7, which are very, very different energies than the 3. Very different. So you know, for example, that you are a 3 core number, but you will say, but I don't understand. How can that be me? It's like a 3 core. My life is 3, but I know that in my life I struggle with this and struggle with that. How can it be? Well, the answer lies in the interaction between your core number 3 with the 4, for example. 3 and 4 are very different numbers. Very, very different. 3 and 7 are also very different numbers, right? Your life path and soul urge. What does that mean and how does that affect you? What does that mean about your life story, your life theme, the way you're going to be as a person, the way you're going to behave, the way you're going to feel, the way you're going to desire in the world. So the picture becomes more complex because 3, when it stands alone, doesn't have any points of friction. But the moment other numbers join the picture, there can be one of 3 options. Either the interaction with the other energy is harmonious, which can support me or be easier on me when it comes to navigating life. The second option is that the interaction with the other number is disharmonious, which means that there's a lot of friction, as in our current example, 3 and 4. 180 degrees opposing energies, right? So that creates a much more complex picture for me. It means that maybe my 3 is not going to express itself that easily, or that my 4 is not going to express itself that easily. There's going to be a conflict. And that means a lot when I want to understand my own journey. Then there's the third option, which is that there's partial harmony, partial disharmony, what I like to call an in-between state, right? So that's how I teach it to my students, right? Harmonious, disharmonious, and in between. A little bit of both. In the in-between, it's as I said, it's a little bit of both. There's some level of harmony, some level of disharmony. I like to look at it as an evolutionary tension. But we already see that the picture is becoming more complex because we have to take into account harmony and disharmony. But that's not the only thing. You know, when 2 people come together, it's not that they only it doesn't just remain, you know, my energy plus your energy. But whenever 2 people meet and bond and become close, there is a kind of third entity being born, the entity of their relationship. So in a sense, something is being born that is bigger, right? Bigger than both. And this is also what happens here with the numbers. So for example, if I take a number like 3 and 4, when they're separate, each one has a certain world. But when I take 3, 4 as an energy combo, as a number combo, I gave birth here to a new being. And I, as a numerologist, have to understand, how will this being function? What will be its characteristics? What are going to be its advantages and disadvantages? And so here we're starting to really write the book, right? Like good storytellers. We're writing a little book, the book of who I am. Let us take more concrete examples. Let's talk about the combo of 4 and 6. 4 is a very solid number, very grounded, very serious, organized. And 6 is a very kind, loving, parental kind of energy, responsible. When you put 4 and 6 together, you get a harmonious combination. It's a little bit like connecting the root chakra with the heart chakra. We have here a very grounded personality, someone that is very a family person. So someone who really thrives in family settings, who is very responsible, reliable, someone who will always take responsibility on their own shoulders and be very helpful, a solid rock in their community, in their family, right? Let's look at another example, 3 and 6. So we still have number 6, but the other number has changed from 4 to 3. 3-6 combo. We have here the creative personality. 3 and 6, we have here the art of the 6 and the creativity of the 3, which together, very often, if you check this combo in yourself or in people, if you happen to be one of those that have this combo, it's a very creative combo. People are very often artists, very expressive, have many creative ideas. There's something very colorful and aesthetic about this combination. an eye for beauty. It's like a rainbow, beautiful rainbow of creativity. People that have 3-6 as their major combos, by the way, very often have a soft skin. It's something that I've observed. It's very interesting. Something very smooth about their skin. So as you see, I'm trying to kind of like put the pieces together, right? Of course, it's just the tip of the iceberg, but still, it's just to give you a feeling of what happens when numbers come together. Let's see a few more examples. Let's take 1 and 5. I'll take 1 and 5, and then I'll take 1 and 7, just to see how it's very different, although in both combos we have 1. So let's say 1, 5. 1, 5 actually brings out much more the aspect of independence and freedom that is present both in 1 and in 5. They are a harmonious combo, 1, 5, and they bring out in one another the aspect of going my way, doing it my way, doing it the way I want, when I want, how I want, really sanctifying the element of freedom, right? The element of dynamism and spontaneity, doing things really when I feel them. And then we take 1, 7, and 1, 7 is a very different combo because it's not so much about the freedom as it is about the trusting of myself. 1, 7 bring out of both numbers, both 1 and 7, the aspect of self-sufficiency, of self-reliance, knowing that I am capable of leading and guiding my own path. So 1-7 combos are very often super individualistic. Loners, lonely wolves very often experience long periods of time of not finding a partner in life because they live and thrive solo. So it takes them much more time to open emotionally. They are very self-assured in their own decisions and in what they choose and the path they walk. So that's more 1-7, very different from 1-5, where the aspect here of individuality takes a different twist. Let's take another example. Let's take 2 and 5, and then 4 and 5. And this is an example of a disharmonious combination. So 2 and 5, we have very different energies, right? We have the 2 that is very intimate, feminine, soft, slow-paced, gentle, needing bonds and needing attentiveness, needing this kind of very close interaction. And then we have a 5, which is very free and experimental and not personal, a free bird, not really intimate, a catch me if you can kind of type. And then you put these two together. So what happens here? On the positive side, what happens is that the 2-5 is a very juicy, very interesting, versatile combo. There's the 2 is also very sensitive. And so the sensitivity with the experimental spirit of the 5 makes it kind of a very juicy combination. That's how I like to look at the 2-5. Very sensual, very sexual. They have this kind of creative edge to them. But the shadow side, for example, is that 2-5 can be also very addictive, emotionally addictive, especially. For example, addicted to relationships, even when they are not working well anymore or when they are destructive, but also addicted to substances, right? So this experimentalism of the 5 with the neediness of the 2, all of a sudden they kind of bring out something very, they disempower one another, we can say. And last but not least, let's take a look at 4-5. So 4-5, again, we have like 180 degrees opposing energies. 4 very organized, solid, like the root chakra. And then we have 5 like super spontaneous, experimental, adventurous, like the second chakra, the sacral chakra. And still, they're coming together. I mean, I've seen many people, and I know many people with a 4-5 combo, like the life path and their expression number, for example, or their soul urge and their expression, or their soul urge and their life path number, 4-5. So here we have a conflict, a fundamental conflict, two opposing energies. This person having the 4 5, very very early in life feels a certain conflict, like energies pulling in different directions. I want safety, I want stability, but I also want to have fun and have adventures, right? And have experiences. And one suppresses the other. One time I try to be the 4, I try to be solid and reliable and so on, but then I get really, really, really bored. I feel like I'm suffocated and I try to be the 5. And then of course, when I shift from one to the other like a pendulum, then when I shift to the 5, of course, I shift into it in an imbalanced way. And I start doing things a bit in an overindulgent way. Then after I realize that's not my thing, I swing back into the 4 again in an imbalanced way. Then I suffocate myself, I choke myself, right? So that's a little bit like the swing that can happen with 4 5. A lot of struggle, a lot of inner battle. It's like a little war happening inside of the person. Nevertheless, we have to see also the potential, which is that 4 5, both related to the root and the sacral chakras, they have something that's very much rooted in the material world. So there's something here which can be also very grounded, very connected to the energies of life, okay, to the energies of this earth, connected to the lower chakras energy, being able to work with my hands, perhaps, be a craftsperson. Interesting, right? So all these examples that I just gave you are an attempt to show you how numbers, when they come together, they form a story. Of course, again, in a podcast, I can only demonstrate the tip of the iceberg of what that means. And let's not forget that we can also form stories of 3 numbers coming together. As an example, let's say 159, right? So 159 as a combo is a very dynamic, very free, very outgoing, very expressive combo, whereas 2, 4, 7 is much more shy and cautious. So as you can see, the art here is really connecting the dots, connecting the pieces, eventually putting the pieces of the puzzle together in order to be able to see the actual picture. And so for me, for example, when someone comes for a numerology reading to me, I don't look at one number in an isolated manner. So I always look at their 5 core numbers and analyze the interaction of the numbers. That very quickly reveals to me this personality that I'm about to meet, this person. Because as you know, I give readings to many, many strangers, people from different countries, people I've ever seen or heard of before. But because I see their story, I see their numbers, it tells me so much about their past, their present, and their future. It tells me about their challenges, it tells me about their potentials, about their unique experience of life. Isn't that amazing, right? So it's not really like seeing a number standing there as an isolated island. You see, so the more progressing, the more progressive you are, the more you progress as a numerologist, you cannot look at numbers as standalone particles. You don't go around anymore and say I'm a 7 or I'm a 9. No, you are a 7, 9, 2, or you're a 4, 5, 6, or you're whatever, 2, 8, 1, 3. You're all of it. So it's very important to see that and to understand that. And you will see, the more you will kind of dive into that, um, you will get so much more accurate insight about who you are, what you're meant to do, what are your deepest lessons, what are your deepest potentials, and also what are your deepest challenges, which are a beautiful makeup of your story as well. Wonderful. So that'll be pretty much it for this episode. Now, if you want to learn more about number combos, and of course, if you want to study more about numerology, you should know that I've created a self-study numerology course. You can click on the link for my website. You have it on this podcast, and you're going to be able to see the course, read about it, and I think it's a beautiful, comprehensive way to understand numerology. And specifically, I've added a whole section there about number combos, which gives you an introduction into all the number combinations, 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, 1 5, right? Like 2 3, 2 4, 2 5, etc., etc. Really, really interesting. You can also, of course, contact me if you want a numerology reading or an in-depth numerology course with me, a one-on-one study course. Other than that, if you have ideas for podcasts, for future episodes, I'll be happy to hear from you. You can send me a message on the Anchor podcast app, or you can write me on my website. You can send me an email, and if you have any interesting ideas, I'll consider you guys' ideas, and I'll perhaps make future episodes based on them. So I wish you all the best. Keep studying, keep learning numerology, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, and you want to go deeper into numerology, check out my website, tom-eckert.com. You can also book a numerology reading or even study numerology yourself through my courses. I'll see you in the next episode.